On Daf Pei Beis, Amud Aleph. 3 lines from the top of the Amud. We're discussing different details, halachas, regarding a person using the bathroom on Shabbos, wiping himself with pebbles, stones, or pieces of earthenware, and so on, as we learned yesterday in the Gemara. So today, the first part of today's Gemara will be a continuation of the same subject. Amalei Rav Huna l'Rabba berei. Rav Huna said to Rabbi his son, "My time leishchiches kamei Rav Chisda. Why aren't you going to listen to the shir of Rav Chisda, the mechaded and shmaite, that he gives very clear, sharp shiurim?" Amalei, so he answered his father, "My ezel legabe. Why should I go to him? Dichiyazilna legabe. When I go to him, maisivli b'mili dalma. He sits me down and he teaches me worldly matters. Amali, he said to me as follows: Man da ayala beis hakise, a person that enters into the beis hakise. Leileise behedya, he shouldn't sit down forcefully. V'lei litracht fei, he shouldn't exert himself too much to try to relieve himself. The high karkashte atlas shini yosef, because the rectum of the person sits upon 3 teeth, the muscles that are holding it, and dilme mishtamte shtini de karkashte. It's possible that it'll get dislocated and he will harm himself by doing this. Vasle de sakana, you can come to a sakana. This is what he talks to me about. So therefore I'm not interested in going to listen to his shir. Amalei, so Rav Huna says to his son, Hu asik b'chayed de briyasa. He's talking about life, your health. Ba'at omret b'mili da'alma. And you're saying that he's just speaking to you about worldly matters? Kol shekain zilagabe. If this is what he teaches you, most definitely you should go to him. So now the Gemara returns to the halachas that we had before on Shabbos regarding different materials used in the bathroom to wipe yourself. Hoyulafonov tzroir acheres. If a person has a tzroir, a pebble, or a cheres, or a piece of earthenware, what should he wipe himself with? Rav Huna Amar mekaneach b'tzroir. Rav Huna says that you should use the pebble. Ve'ein mekaneach b'cheres. You should not use the earthenware. Rav Chisda Amar. Rav Chisda says no. Mekaneach b'cheres. Ve'ein mekaneach b'tzroir. You should use the cheres. You should use the earthenware and not use the pebble. Says Rashi explains that the advantage of using the tzroir is that it's something which is not as much as a sakana as using the earthenware. The earthenware has more of a rough surface, and it's something that could hurt the person. So therefore, he says you should use the tzroir. The advantage of using the cheres is because on Shabbos, it's not muktzah. The pebble would be muktzah. So there's an advantage of using the cheres that's not muktzah. Meisvei, the Gemara asks a question from a braisa. The person has an option of using either a pebble or a cheres. Mekaneach becheres. So the braisa says you should use the earthenware. Ve'ein mekaneach b'tzroir, and you should not use the stone. To yufta de Rav Huna, this clearly refutes what Rav Huna said. Tergemer, Rav from Bar Papa, kamei de Rav Chisda, aliba de Rav Huna. So Rav from Bar Papa explained this in front of Rav Chisda, that according to Rav Huna will say as follows: But ugnei kelim, when it talks in that praisa about using the earthenware, it's talking about the handles of the kelim that are not as rough, that are it can be used without any sakana whatsoever. It's not going to hurt the person, and therefore in such a case, even Rav Huna would agree that it's more preferred to use this than to use a pebble that has the issue of muktzah on Shabbos. Dr. Gemara weiter, another option if a person has hoylafon of tzroir va'asavim, if a person has either a pebble or asavim or grass, what should be used? Rav Chisda v'Rav Amnuna. So again, there's an argument here between Rav Chisda and Rav Amnuna. Chadamar mekaneach b'tzroir. One says to use the pebble, ve'ein mekaneach ba'asavim, and not to use the grass. V'chadamar mekaneach ba'asavim ve'ein mekaneach b'tzroir. And the other says to use the grass and not to use the pebble. So Rashi here brings 2 pshatim regarding this. One pshat Rashi says is that the grass, the issue with the grass is that it could also cause problems for the person. It's not. It's going to cause to hurt the person by wiping with this. So it's also a sort of a danger. But then the Rashi brings another pshat from his teachers, from Rabbi Seinu. He says that the issue is that with hasavim, the person might tear it off the ground. That's what we're talking about. And Rashi explains what this means is a person would wipe himself with the grass without tearing it off the ground, because if he's actually ripping it out of the ground, then obviously it's not permitted at all. That's mamish the malacha of tailish. But we're talking about a case where the person uses the grass to wipe himself without ripping it out of the ground. And the question is that better than using the pebble, which is muktzah? Or should he use the grass, although there may be a concern that he may come to tear it out of the ground, but still that's better. So that's the machlokes here. Meisvei, so the Gemara asks from a braise, it says, if a person wipes himself with something which is flammable, the teeth of the rectum fall out. It causes this harm to a person. So it's clear in the braise that you should not use something which is flammable, which would include grass. So how could this be used? Not even only on Shabbos, but in general. This is a concept of that is, according to some opinions, may be connected to the concept of kishuf, that it makes a person susceptible to kishuf, similar to what we saw before regarding a person that wipes himself with chaspa, with a broken earthenware. And it says in Paiskim already that this is something that is not applicable today anymore. And one of the reasons is because today kishuf is not prevalent, and therefore this is not applicable today. But the question of the Gemara here is on the opinion that said in those times that you shouldn't wipe yourself with grass. Answers the Gemara, or that you should wipe yourself with grass, that is. How is that possible if in the Braisa it says that it's flammable? Answers the Gemara, loy kashya. It's not a question. Ha belachin, ha b'yavation. There's a difference if it's moist grass, or if it's dry grass. If it's dry, then it's flammable. Then there's an issue. But if it's moist, there's no issue. Sagt the Gemara weiter, nitzrach lifnais, a person that has to relieve himself, ve'einoi nifne, and he does not relieve himself. So Rav Chiste ve'Ravina, these two argue about what kind of ill effects it'll have on the person. Chadoma ruach ra sheletasboi. One of them said there'll be a bad breath that he will have because of this. V'chadomar ruach zuama sheletasboi. The other says that it'll be a bad odor that will come from his body. Tanya kamandam ruach zuama sheletasboi. We learned like the opinion that says that it'll be a bad odor from the perspiration of his body. The Tanya, we learned in the Braise, hanitzrach lenekavov v'oichol, a person that has to relieve himself and he does not, and he goes ahead and eats. Doimel letanor she'siku al gav afrei. He's compared to an oven that you are putting on the fire to heat it on old ashes, on old coals, which obviously is not a good way to heat up the oven. Same here, the person is eating before he empties his body, he relieves himself. It's compared to this. V'zuhi tchilas ruach zuama. The Braisa then concludes this is the beginning of the source of a bad odor that comes from the person's body. Hutzrach lipanis ve'einoi nifne ve'einoi yachal lipanis. How about a person that has to relieve himself but is constipated? He can't. What should you do? Omer Rav Chiste says, Yamoid v'yeshev, Yamid v'yeshev. Get up, sit down, get up, sit down. That will hopefully cause the bowel movement. Rav Chanan min Erda Omar, Rav Chanan of Nerda said, Yistalik litzdaden. You should go to another place. You should go from one location to another and try to relieve himself again. Rav Amnuna Omar, Rav Amnuna says, Yimashmish b'tzroir ba'oisei mokim. You should try to manipulate himself by using a stone in that place. Rabbanan Omri, Rabbanan say, Yasiach daitoi. You should remove his mind from this. Amalei Rav Ache, Berei de Rav Rav Ashi, Koshakein. So then definitely, the Chimasech daite, if he removes his mind from this, Leimifni, he won't be able to relieve himself. If he's not doing anything about it, not paying attention to it, he definitely won't be able to relieve himself. Amalei, so he answered, no. What he meant is as follows: Yasiach daitoi midvarim acherim. Remove your mind from other matters and focus on relieving yourself, and this will bring you to be able to do it. I saw this Arab merchant, the Kom v'Yosef, he got up and sat down, ad the until he was able to relieve himself, like when you spill out from a pot, which he's able to relieve himself easily. We learned in another Braise, a person that's entering into a suda where he's going to establish himself and sit there for a while. And as Rashi says, it's not honorable for him to get up in the middle of the meal and leave. to go to use the bathroom. So he wants to relieve himself before. So what should he do? Yahalech yud pa'amim shel arba amais. He should walk 10 times the space of 4 amas. Others say dalit pa'amim shel eser amas. He should walk 4 times back and forth the space of 10 amas. V'nifna, and he'll be able to relieve himself. And then v'nichnas v'yeshev b'mkaimai, and he should enter into the meal and sit down on his place. That's the conclusion of this sugya of the halachas that pertain to a person using the bathroom on Shabbos and otherwise. Some of this, by the way, we had in the Gemara Brachas, if you remember. Let's continue. Zok the Mishnah Cheres. What is the minimum amount of an earthenware to be carried out on Shabbos to be chayiv? To place between one beam and another, beams that are piled up one on another, and there's some gaps or some spaces where you have put in these pieces of earthenware. That's the minimum amount that's used for that to be chayiv when you carry on Shabbos. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. This is Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Rabbi Meir says, large enough to be able to pick up fire or to be able to pick up a burning coal with it. Rabbi Yosi says, large enough to be able to hold in it a revius of liquid. So Rabbi Meir now says, although I don't have a proof to my opinion, however, I do have a hint, sort of, to the opinion that I said. This is a pasuk in Yeshaya where the Navi there gives the Yidden Musar that they are relying on others other than the Eibishter to help them, to save them, to protect them, and they are relying on another wall that will be there as a protection for them. And the Eibishter says that he's going to crush down this wall and there'll be nothing left of it and they'll have no source of protection. La yimtza b'mechitasai, the Eibishter will crush down this wall and you won't find in it not even a cheres lachtes eish miyakad, not even a piece of earthenware to be able to pick up fire from the furnace. So you see over here that the use of a piece of cheres, of earthenware, is to pick up a coal. Amalei Rabbi Yosi, so Rabbi Yosi responded to this and said, Misham Raya, that's the source that you're bringing a proof for this. The pasuk that continues and says, V'lach seif mayim migava, and there'll also not be anything enough left over to be able to draw water from a pit. So you see that the minimum amount that's needed is to be able to draw water with it, like Rabbi Yosi's opinion was. Now, Zok the Gemara, Mestavere, it would logically make sense that Shiyure the Rabbi Yosi nafish, that the shear of Rabbi Yosi to be able to draw a revius of liquid is larger than being able to pick up a coal, a burning coal. That's what you would think logically. But if you take a look in the pasuk, Shiyure the Rabbi Meir nafish, then it seems from the pasuk that the shear of Rabbi Meir is larger. Why? If you're going to say that the shear of Rabbi Yosi, the size of the cheres to be able to draw the liquid of water, is larger, so then the order in the pasuk doesn't make sense. Layet la b'mana zutra, the Eibishter curses and the musar and the curse over here is that there'll be nothing left over, not even a tiny piece of earthenware to be used to pick up a burning coal. And v'hada layet la b'mana rabba, and then the pasuk continues and intensifies the curse and say that you won't even have a larger piece left over. He just said that there won't be a smaller piece left over. For sure there won't be a larger piece. So in the order of the pasuk, it would seem that the piece being used to be able to draw water is smaller, even though logically you would think to be able to draw water, you need more space in the earthenware than to be able to pick up a burning coal. Amar Abaye, so Abaye said, no, Masnisin Nami, in the Mishnah as well, the pshat is, Lachtais Eish miyekida gedayla. Rav Meir was talking about using a piece of earthenware to be able to pick up a piece of coal from a larger bonfire. So therefore, even in the Mishnah, we could understand that the shear of Rav Meir is bigger than the shear of Rabbi Yosi, which is only to draw a revius of liquid. So therefore, it's not a stira to what it says in the pasuk. Sagt the Gemara weiter, Rabbi Yosi Omer, Rabbi Yosi says, Misham Raya, from here is the Raya. The pasuk continues and says that the cheres is being used to draw water. So why does Rabbi Meir ignore the conclusion of the pasuk? Sagt the Gemara, Shape Kamel Rabbi Yosi le Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yosi has a very good point that he's saying to Rabbi Meir. How would Rabbi Meir respond to this? Rabbi Meir, now according to the answer the Gemara explains, Rabbi Meir's answer is, Loi mi boya ka'ama. The pasuk is saying loy mibaya. It's saying that not only this, but even this, as the Gemara will now explain. Loy mibaya midi d'choshev le'inshi. Not only something which is significant enough that people use it, the loy l'shtakach le, that you won't have any remainder of this wall that the Eibusher will crush. You won't have something significant left over of it. Ela afila midi de loy choshev le'inshi. Even something which is insignificant for people. Even just be using it to draw some water with it, which is insignificant for people don't usually use it for this purpose, will also not be found. So the point that he's saying is, yes, true, the pasuk does continue to say that the cheres could also be used to draw water, but that's an insignificant use. People don't use it for this, and therefore over here, Rabbi Meir was ignoring this part of the pasuk regarding the shear needed to carry out the cheres, because when it comes to the minimum shear required to carry out anything on Shabbos, we look at what is the significant use that people use it for. So that part of the pasuk is saying even something which is so insignificant will also not be left over. But it's not. You can't bring a raya over here for our halacha of carrying out on Shabbos, because it has to be something which is significant use that people usually use it for. So therefore, he focuses only on the first part of the pasuk, the cheres that's being used to pick up a hot piece of coal, a piece of fire. Hadron Allah hamoitzi yayin. That concludes this peirik of hamoitzi yayin. So we begin a new Pedic, and in this Pedic there will be also a continuation of the discussion of the different sizes of things that are carried out on Shabbos. But the Pedic does begin with a completely unrelated halacha to Hilchos Shabbos. It begins with a halacha of Tumah regarding Avodah Zarah. And the reason why it begins with this, there are two opinions of the Rishonim. Rashi here says it begins with Omer Rabbi Akiva, which discusses, Rabbi Akiva is going to discuss various different things that there are different halachas, and one of them will be the halachas pertaining over here to Hilchos Shabbos, which we are discussing. So it begins with this statement of Rabbi Akiva, and it'll bring also another statement that Rabbi Akiva said regarding this, as we'll see. So that's Rashi's pshat. Tosfos says that because the previous Mishnah brought a source from a pasuk in Yeshaya regarding the halachas of carrying on Shabbos, it brings you now another halacha, not related to Shabbos, but it also is going to bring a source to this halacha from the same place there in Yeshaya. That's the continuation. But as far as the theme is concerned, there's no connection. Omer Rabbi Akiva zok the Mishnah. Rabbi Akiva said, "Minayin la'avodah zarah shemetame b'masa." From where do I know that the tumah of avodah zarah, which is not a tumah min atayra, it's a tumah that Chachamim were mesaken, as we'll see soon in the Gemara Namid Beis, that Chachamim were metame avodah zarah. In other words, the Chachamim said a person that carries avodah zarah, as we'll see here, or a person that touches avodah zarah, becomes tamei. This is a takana mirabanan, in order for a person to stay away from avodah zarah. So there are different kinds of ways that you could contract tumah. By touching, or in this case it would be by carrying, even if you carry it in a way that you're not actually touching the avodah zarah. So Rabbi Akiva says that takana of Chachamim, to say that if that avodah zarah makes you tamei, includes also if you carry the avodah zarah. From where do we know this? Minayin avodah zarah shemetame b'masa, that avodah zarah would make you tamei even if you just carry it. Kinida, like the halacha is regarding a nida, that if you carry a nida, you become tamei. Shenema, because we see in the pasuk of the Yeshaya, in the same kapitel that was quoted in the previous Mishnah, in the previous Pedic, so there it compares avodah zarah to a nida. The pasuk says, Tizrein, throw away the avodah zarah, kemoi dova, like a nida. Say taimalei, say to it to go away from you. Ma nida metame b'masa, so just like a nida makes you tamei if you carry it, af avodah zarah metame b'masa. So to avodah zarah will make you tamei if you carry it. That's the halacha that Rabbi Akiva said. Now the Gemara will quote from a Mishnah in Avodah Zarah that brings this halacha of Rabbi Akiva, and it actually brings a machlokes between the Rabbanon and Rabbi Akiva, and the Gemara will analyze this machlokes at length for about the next blot and a half. Let's see. Sagt the Gemara, Tanana, some we learned in the Mishnah of Avodah Zarah, Mi shahaya beisai samach la Avodah Zarah. If a person's house was near the house of Avodah Zarah, or as the Bachas Gairis, Mishaya Kaislai Samach La Ashera, your wall was near an Ashera tree. So the point is that your wall of your house is also serving, it's yours, and it also serves the house that's now being used for Avodah Zarah. V'nafal, and this wall fell. Asur livnaisa, you may not rebuild it in the same location because you're building a wall that will be used for Avodah Zarah. So Ketzad Yaseh, what does the person have to do? Kaines l'teich shaloi, you have to go in 4 amis into your property, ubayna, and that's how you build a wall, so they're not going to be using the support or the shade or whatever it is from your wall. What if you have a wall that's positioned half on your property and half on the property of Avodah Zarah? So then, nidin mechza al mechza. So we look at it, half of the wall and half is yours and half is belongs to Avodah Zarah. So from the middle of the wall, where your property begins, from there you have to enter 4 amas. Avanov and the Eitzav and the Afarav, and then the Mishnah continues what's relevant over here to our Mishnah: the stones, the wood, or the earth of Avodah Zarah, metamim kesheretz, will make a person tamei like a sheretz. Shenemar shakitz shaktzenu. The expression used regarding Avodah Zarah is that it's abominable. The expression of sheket, which is also used regarding shratzim, regarding crawling creatures that can cause tumah. So this is the opinion of the Rabbanon. The Tanakama, the Rabbanon hold that the takana of Chachamim to make Avodah Zarah tamei is compared to the tumah of shratzim. And we'll see soon the relevance of this comparison. Rabbi Akiva, however, Rabbi Akiva says kinida, the tumah of Avodah Zarah is compared to a nida. Shenema tizreim k'may dava, cast away the Avodah Zarah like a nida, mad nida metama b'masa, and the chiddush here is that just like in the case of a nida, it becomes tamei even when you carry it, even if you did not touch it. Af Avodah Zarah metama b'masa. So too, Avodah Zarah becomes tamei even when you only carry it without touching it. This is the conclusion of the Mishnah that you have in Masechta Avodah Zarah. Now the Gemara will analyze this as we'll see by Riches, but let me just stop for a moment and mention an interesting thing, that the Rambam brings up this halacha of the tumah of Avodah Zarah. And the Rambam actually adds that there's a remes for the tumah of Avodah Zarah from the story in Chumash by Shechem, where the children of Yaakov Avinu over there went and killed out the people of Shechem and brought different things, the possessions of the people of Shechem. And Yaakov says, Hasiru Elekei Nechar, get rid of, remove Elekei Nechar Avodah Zarah from amongst you. So the Rambam says from here we see that these items that came from Avodah Zarah have tumah in them, and therefore Yaakov Avinu was telling them, Hasiru, get rid of them. So the Rebbe points out in the Sikhe, this is a beautiful Sikhe in Chelik Lamed Parshas Vayishlach, that this source that the Rambam brings from this story, by the in Shechem and Parshas Vayishlach, is not brought in the Mishnayos anywhere, not brought in Gemara anywhere. It's the Rambam's very own source. And the Rebbe explains it's pretty unusual for the Rambam to bring his own sources for things, especially that the Rambam himself there also quotes these psukim of Shakis to Shaktzenu and Tizrem K'may Dava. In addition, he brings this source from Shechem. Why does the Rambam bring this? So the Rebbe points out that the Rambam wants to make clear that the tumah of Avodah Zarah is unlike other tumahs. The tumah, usually a tumah is something which is based on the fact that the cheftza, the very item itself, has tumah within it. That is what the basis and the concept of the tumah is about. The cheftza has tumah. When it comes to Avodah Zarah, though, the Rebbe says, the basis of the tumah is Chachamim creating a safeguard for the person, for the Gavra, to remain far away from the Avodah Zarah, as we'll see in a moment in the Lashon of the Gemara. So even though they were Mesakin, that the Tumah should take effect in the Cheftze, in the item, that it makes you Tomei, but it's all really as a safeguard for the person. It's the Tumah is really focused on the Gavra, that he should remain far away from the Avodah Zarah. That's what the Rambam is pointing out in the Lashon of the Pasuk that he quotes, Hasiru. The main point of this tumah of Avodah Zarah is that a person should stay away, not that the actual cheftza itself has a source of tumah. And the Rebbe points out a very interesting thing on a deeper level, that Avodah Zarah is a kind of Isser that's different than all other kinds of Isurim. All other kinds of Isurim, the object itself is an object of Isser. Whether it is anything that's Asr Bahana, something that's not kosher, the very object itself has an Isser within it, and that's the source of its Isser, or in some cases that's the source of its Tumah. Comes to an Avodah Zarah could be anything. It could be a table, it could be a chair, it could even be the sun and the moon. The Avodah Zarah is an object that in essence doesn't have any Tumah or Avodah Zarah in it. The Avodah Zarah is the person, the dinyan of the person, the imagination of a person that serves Avodah Zarah and treats it like an Avodah Zarah. The very object itself is not Avodah Zarah. The contrary, the very object itself, the Eibusha is recreating every moment, and there's no Avodah Zarah here at all. The whole existence of Avodah Zarah is a subjective thing, that there's a person that treats it like Avodah Zarah. And therefore it follows that the definition of the Tumah of Avodah Zarah is similar, that it's not that the actual Chefza itself is a Chefza of Isser and a Chefza of Tumah, but it's the Gavra, it's for the person that has to stay away from this Avodah Zarah, to remove this entire attitude of serving it at Avodah Zarah that defines this Tumah. And therefore the Rambam brings this pasuk. Let's continue inside the Gemara. So Omar Rabbe, Rabbe said, based on this pasuk that says Tizreim, throw it away. Tizreim da makra, when the Torah says throw it away, Nachrinu minach kizar, a stranger to you, like someone that's a stranger to you. Throw it away completely. Say to it to go away from you. Hikanes al taimelai, do not allow it to enter in you with you at all. Now Rabbe comes and explains the pshat and the machlekes of the Rabbanon and Rabbi Akiva. B'masa, as far as the tumah of Avodah Zarah, when you carry it, the kula almale pliga de tama. Everybody would agree that it becomes tameh. Everybody agrees to this premise that Rabbi Akiva says that we see in the pasuk that Avodah Zarah is compared to nida. Even the Tanna Kama that doesn't bring that pasuk agrees to this premise as well. Ki pligi, when is the case when they argue? Be'even mesama, by a even mesama, which is based on a lashon of a pasuk in Daniel, which Rashi brings. What a even mesama is a heavy stone. When you have a heavy stone, and that heavy stone is placed on something else, it's placed on other kalim, it's placed on a couch, it's placed on pegs or whatever it is, it's being supported by something, and then you place an Avodah Zarah on top of this heavy stone. When you place that Avodah Zarah on the heavy stone, what's beneath the heavy stone is not at all being affected by this weight of the Avodah Zarah that it's on top of the heavy stone. But by a Even Mesameh, there's a special pasuk that teaches us, B'negei to a Nida, B'negei to a Zav, that even in such a case, what's below the Even, what's below the stone, also becomes Tameh. So the Chiddush of Rabbi Akiva of comparing Avodah Zarah to the Nida was that not only is there a Tumah of carrying the Avodah Zarah, like it is in the case of a nida, but also even mesame, when you have a heavy stone and you place something on it, and then there's something below, what's below also becomes tameh. That was the additional chiddush of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva savar kenida. Rabbi Akiva was comparing it to nida, ma nida metame be'even mesame, just like nida becomes tameh in the case of this heavy stone. Af Avodah Zarah metame be'even mesame. Avodah Zarah will also become tameh if you place it on top of this heavy stone. So the comparison goes so far to compare it even to this detail. Rabbanan Savri, and then this is where the Rabbanan came and argued and said, Kisheretz, that regarding this detail we compare it to Sheretz. Ma Sheretz le metame be'even mesame, af Avodah Zarah le metame be'even mesame. Just as in the case of a Sheretz, the Tumah does not go this far when you put it on a heavy stone, that what's beneath it should become Tameh, so to Avodah Zarah, this does not apply. So the Rabbanan agreed to the premise of Rabbi Akiva that we compare Avodah Zarah to Nida, but what they were saying is that we see that it's also compared to Sheretz to teach us that the comparison to Nida does not go all the way, and in the case of the Even Mesama, we don't compare it. According to Rabbi Akiva, Lamai Hilchase Iskish L'Sheretz. For what reason, for what halacha is the Torah comparing it to Sheretz, if according to Rabbi Akiva he holds that the comparison of Avodah Zarah to Nida is to full extent? Answers the Gemara, Limisham Sheha, to different things that are serving the Avodah Zarah, Kalim or other vessels that are serving Avodah Zarah, there this Tumah of Even Mesama does not apply. Only the Avodah Zarah itself is fully compared to Nida. Rabbanan, on the other hand, according to Rabbanan, Lamai Hilchase Iskish Nida. Why are we comparing it to Nida? Answers the Gemara, Lamasa. We're comparing it to say that the Tumah of carrying, which is by Nida, does apply to Avodah Zarah. As the Gemara explained before, that according to Rabba, even the Rabbanan will be made that the carrying Tumah, which is not by Sheretz, and it is by Nida, will apply to Avodah Zarah because we compare Avodah Zarah to Nida. Asks the Gemara, there's a third kind of a Tumah. Why would the pasuk not compare Avodah Zarah to nevela? Nevela is a kind of tumah that would be the perfect source. If according to the Rabbanan, Avodah Zarah, the takana of Avodah Zarah was that it does have the tumah of carrying, but it does not have this tumah of Even Mesama when you place something on a heavy rock. So then, nevela would be the perfect source. Nevela is a tumah that's tummy if you touch it, if you carry it, but this chumrah of Even Mesama that the Torah says by Nida and Zav does not apply to nevela. So why does the Torah have to compare according to the Rabbanon on one hand to Nida, on the other hand to Sheretz? Just compare to nevela. Nevela is the perfect source for the tumah of Avodah Zarah. So the Gemara says, Ena Chanami. You're right, that would have been the perfect source. So there has to be another reason why we compare to Nida. Ella, rather, Ma Nida le'ena le'evarim. Just as in the case of a Nida, the tumah of Nida does not apply when there's only one limb of the body of a Nida. Af Avodah Zarah eina le'evarim. So too, the takana of the Chachamim, that Avodah Zarah is tamei, is not if you have parts of an Avodah Zarah, parts of a keli of Avodah Zarah, that does not become tamei. Only the full keli of Avodah Zarah is a source of tamei. Asks the Gemara, Rav Chama bar Gurya. Rav Chama bar Gurya actually had a question about this. Avodah Zarah yeshna le'evarim or eina le'evarim. The tumah of Avodah Zarah applies even when you have one limb, one part of a keli of Avodah Zarah or not. Tifshet le'miha. Why didn't he resolve this question from here to the Rabbanon eina le'evarim? That according to the Rabbanon, the whole point of comparing to Nida is to teach me that the takana of the tumah of Avodah Zarah is not to one limb, to one part of the keli. And says the Gemara, Rav Chama bar Gurya, aliba de Rabbi Akiva ba'ilei. True, according to the Rabbanon, there's no question. That's the comparison to Nida. The whole shaila of Rav Chama bar Gurya was according to Rabbi Akiva. According to Rabbi Akiva, which says we compare it to Nida for a different reason. So the question is, what's the story with the Evarim of Avodah Zarah? This is all Rabbi's opinion, Rabbi's interpretation in the Machlekes of Rabbanon and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Elazar says a different interpretation. Everybody will agree regarding this additional chumrah of Even Mesame. When you place something on a heavy rock, that the things below it become tamei. Everybody will agree that that extent of tumah chacham were not mesaken for Avodah Zarah. Ki pligi. When is the machlekes here? What is the machlekes between Rabbi Akiva and the Rabbanon? B'masa. Regarding carrying, as it would seem in the simple lashon that's used in the Mishnah, masa, regarding carrying Avodah Zarah, this is the machlekes, whether this applies to Avodah Zarah as well. Rabbi Akiva Sava Nida. Rabbi Akiva's opinion is we compare Avodah Zarah to Nida. Ma Nida metame b'masa, af Avodah Zarah metame b'masa. Just as in the case of a Nida, when you carry, you become tamei. Af Avodah Zarah, so to Avodah Zarah, when you carry it, you become tamei. Rabbanan Savri and Rabbanan say kisheretz. We compare the Avodah Zarah to a sheretz. Ma sheretz lo metame b'masa. Just as in the case of a sheretz, you do not become tamei if you carry it. Af Avodah Zarah lo metame b'masa. So to Avodah Zarah, you do not become tamei if you carry it. As a simple pshat, it would seem the machlekes of the Mishnah. So the Gemara now explains again the same point as we explained before. According to Rabbi, the Gemara now explains it according to Rabbi Elazar. According to Rabbi Akiva, why do we find in the pasuk a comparison of Avodah Zarah to the tumah of a sheretz? Regarding the misham sheha, the different things that are serving the Avodah Zarah, not Avodah Zarah itself, Rabbi Akiva would agree that there's no tumas masa, only the tumah if you touch it. Why is there a comparison of Avodah Zarah to Nida? Ma Nida eina le'evarim. Just as in the case of a Nida, there is no tumah to any limbs of the body of a Nida. Af Avodah Zarah eina le'evarim. So too by Nida, there's no tumah of Nida if there's only one part of a keli. Sagt the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, Lamai Hilchase Iskish Nida, Lamasa. What did we just say? That according to Rabbi Akiva, we compare Avodah Zarah to Nida to say that the Tumah of Masa applies. But it doesn't go, the comparison is not a full comparison, because we don't compare it to Nida for Even Mesama as well, even according to Rabbi Akiva, that it does not become Tomei like a Nida when it's on top of a heavy rock, that what's below it should become Tomei. So if we're not comparing it to the full extent to a Nida, so then like Shalin Avela, like the Gemara this question before, that it asked according to the Rabbanon, now it's asking it according to Rabbi Akiva, according to Rabbi Elazar's interpretation. So let us compare Avodah Zarah to Nevela. It's a perfect source. By Nevela, it has the Tumah of Masa, but not the Tumah of Even Mesama. So why are we comparing it to Nida? That's the Gemara, and a Chanami, the same answer we gave before. This is true, that we could have compared it to Nevela. Ella, Even according to Rabbi Akiva, the reason why the Torah is comparing it to Nida is the same like according to the Rabbanon. Elama Nida Einale Varim, just like in the case of Nida, the Tumah does not apply to the limbs of a Nida. Af Avodah Zarah Einale Varim, so to the Tumah of Avodah Zarah, Chacham were not misaken that the Tumah should apply if it's only an Aver of Avodah Zarah. So now the conclusion according to this pshat is that both Rabbi Akiva and the Rabbanon agree that we're comparing it to Nida also for the point to teach me that the Tumah of Avodah Zarah is not if it's only one Aver of the Avodah Zarah. If so, Ela had by Rav Chama bar Gurya. So this, that Rav Chama bar Gurya had a question about this subject. Avodah Zarah yeshna leivarim ayene leivarim. The Avodah Zarah, the Tumah of Avodah Zarah, does apply in a case of just one limb of the Avodah Zarah or not? Tifshet le meha bein l'Rabbanan bein l'Rabbi Akiva. Now, according to what we said, we could resolve this question both according to the Rabbanan and according to Rabbi Akiva. Deina leivarim, that the Tumah of Avodah Zarah does not apply to when it's only one limb of Avodah Zarah. Both according to Rabbi Akiva and the Rabbanan, that is the whole purpose of the Torah comparing the Tumah of Avodah Zarah to Nida. That Chachamim's takana was only when it's the full keli of Avodah Zarah, not just one aver. Answers the Gemara, Rav Chama bar Gurya kerabe masni. Rav Chama bar Gurya learned the pshat of the machlekes of Rabbi Akiva and the Rabbanon like Rabbe, ubayela aliva the Rabbi Akiva. And he only had his question, as we said before, according to Rabbi Akiva. According to Rabbi Lazar, this taka wouldn't be a question. The whole question of Rav Chama bar Gurya was according to Rabbe's interpretation of the machlekes.